Hanel here. Thank you so much for having me. I've been in the business now for about 4.5 years. And I remember when I first got into the business, I wish I had something like this, right? I wish I had like, the resources, the coaches, the mentors. So anybody who's here right now, I think you'll find some great value out of this. Um, Me myself, I trade mostly out of Hamilton, Stony Creek. Those are my two pockets. However, I am finding myself more in the Niagara region these days. Units right now, I'm hitting close to. That's a good question, Andre. I would say if I were to guesstimate right now, and I should be on this stuff a bit more, but definitely closer to 25 units right now.
Amazing. I love it. A's, you're up next. Again, no specific order, just where you fall on my screen. So tell us a bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, and where you at production-wise right now.
Awesome. So I am in KW through and through. I've been at KW for 13 years now. I know, surprising. And I've been selling real estate for 8. I've been on the West team since 2015. I started as their director. I started as KW's director, first impressions. I moved on to trades administrator, did agent training on all our systems. And then Josh Rochelle West recruited me to be their EA. I then moved to being a listings manager, and I did a dual role of listings manager and real estate agent up until 2020. And then I went full real estate broker, and I'm loving it. Last year, my GCI was 198 with 29 transactions, and my goal this year is to hit 250, and I'll do whatever it takes to hit it, however many units that may be. And on the year, I think I'm at about 16 units right now.
So you're going to smash that 29 by the time this year's over. Atta girl. Amazing. David, you're up next. Tell us a bit about yourself. I know you're in the Toronto area, but tell us a bit more about your business and how long you've been in the industry.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Andre and Kristen and everybody else who was involved. This is so much fun, and it's an honor to be on here, and as well as my co-panelists. It's great to see you. So I'm David. I trade out of Toronto, and I've been in the business. I'm probably the newbie here, so it's been about 1 year and 4 months. Last year, I did just over 350 in GCI, and so far this year, I think I'm just below 150 right now. So thank you, and I'm just starting my own team. Really enjoying all of the help I'm getting from KW and mentors on that front. So it's wonderful to be here.
I love it. I love it. Kwon Estates. Team
Yes, sir.
Extraordinaire. Tell us more about yourself, Sam.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for allowing us to be here as well, Andre. A little about myself. I was trading in Hamilton with my boy Henry over here. Started with MRN, McKay Realty Network, on the team. Been there for about 2 years, provided with an opportunity to come to the Vaughan market once they opened about 2 years ago. So I've been here for about close to 2 years now, trading in Vaughan, York, a little bit of Toronto as well. And yeah, the opportunity to become an expansion partner of MRN. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And last year I did about 15 units and 370K GCI. Goal for the year is 500,000 GCI.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I think what's one of the things that I noticed through this is, myself included, every single person here is either starting a team or been in a team. And, that's one of the things that Gary Keller talks about all the time is, teams are going to dominate the marketplace. It's just kind of the way it's going to be. And you get so much support and there's so much growth. Sam, for you, 2 years later, and you're looking at 500,000 in GCI. A's, I know you're doing some incredible things, David. Same with all you guys. So really cool. Thank you for sharing. I love hearing that. Today, we're going to talk about lead generation because we know that that's the one thing that matters to everybody. And so when you're looking at lead generation, and feel free to jump in, I'm not going to call on you for this one, but what do you believe is the most effective way to lead generate?
I'll chime in here. I think that for me personally, my experience, the most powerful lead gen source is working my network and working my sphere. Already diving in deep with the people who already like and trust me.
So A's, because you jumped in right away, I got a follow-up question to that. When you say working your network and working your sphere, how do you keep them engaged with you?
So I try and engage with my sphere like through my social media. So first and foremost, if I take social media, I'm commenting on people's stories. I'm throwing out fire emojis. I'm commenting on events and their posts. Same with Facebook. I'm always sending like their happy birthday posts, etc. And then through my database, I'm sending out, like, from our team, with the help of our fantastic admin, we're sending out our newsletter 2 times a month. We're hitting them with their birthday cards, with their Starbucks gift cards. We're hitting them with their home anniversaries. And then, like, just a general reminder in my CRM to do a little, hey, how are you? How's it going? Have I talked to this person lately? Whether that's a past client, is that a friend, family member? Like, everyone in my network is important to me. That's where the majority of my business comes from. So engaging with them as much as I can. And
oh, I think we got you frozen there. Okay, we're gonna keep going till Ace gets back. Somebody jump in and tell me what they believe their favorite method of lead generation, or the best method of lead generation is. Sammy, I'm gonna pick on you just because of where you are. What do you do for lead gen?
I'm a little different. So when I first started, I reached out to my sphere, my contacts, people that I know, and nothing was turning out from it. So I DM'd everybody, I called everybody, text messaged everybody, and nobody was looking to do anything. So I said, okay, now I got to work with cold leads. And that's what I was taught to do. Either you cold call, you farm, you door knock, open houses, whatever it is, that's what I have to do. So my go-to form of lead generation is cold calling and door knocking. And I do that consistently 5-6 days a week, nonstop.
Wow. Now, when you're jumping into that, is there a specific, because I know we're going to get the question, is there a specific thing you're saying to these people, or is it just simply, hey, are you thinking about making a move this year?
Yeah, the scripting will depend on which areas that I'm calling. I'll usually pick out my farm areas, or I'll pick recently solds, or I'll generally just pick an area that I want to target. And I want to bring as much value as possible. I'm okay with the no's because I know real estate is a contacts pro. Every no I get is getting me closer to the yes. So it's a numbers game at the end of the day. The more you do it, the higher chances you have.
I love it. So kicking it old school, on the phones, at the doors, primary place, and then you're following that up with your sphere, touch program, that sort of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Love it. Love it. Henry, what are you guys doing? I know Chris was a farming monster when he started. Is that still the primary source of lead gen for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for him specifically, I mean, 50 Point, that's we're really well known in that area there. Do a lot of transactions out there. For me, myself, again, much like A's, I lean a lot on my sphere. Born and raised in Hamilton, so not the most popular kid out here, but I do know quite a bit of people out there. And just from there, I love the old school methods as well, right? So things like cold calling. I love Mojo. That's a program that we use to cold call. Door knocking, we're really big on door knocking as well. Open houses. Just mixing all that in together. I'm starting to really just hone in on the social media now. Yeah, so I would say, mostly a lot of my business comes from my sphere itself. But just speaking on lead generation itself, for me, the most important thing is the consistency. From 9 to 12, you will not catch me anywhere else other than here or at home on the phones. That's it. That's the most important thing for me.
I love it. It's like success leaves clues, right? Mr. Rubel, thank you for waiting on us. What are you doing for lead generation?
The biggest thing that I find works for me is just avoid making any phone calls or contacting anyone you know, anyone you don't know. Be a hermit. Don't reach out. That's the big thing, right? Sleep through your lead gen. That's super important too. You know what? Honestly, Aislyn basically covered everything I do. I have had great success networking through my sphere and my network. I find I'm reaching out to them all the time. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to just meet people for coffee. And I think one of the biggest things that I was in the first flip space class with Sean Provencher. And one of the biggest things that he talked about is Adam, always top of mind. So I've taken that quite seriously. I post actively on social media. I'm extremely funny and popular. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm trying to at least make people laugh or give them something really valuable. And through that, I've talked to quite a lot of people who are not clients. But I get huge referrals through that. So just making sure that you're, or at least I'm, being of service to people and really taking up real estate in their head.
I love that. I love that. And one of the things I heard through every single person here was the art of consistency, right? Ace, it sounds like if they're connected to you, they're hearing from you, what, 40, 50, 60 times a year minimum. Sam, you're coming at them, at the phones, at the doors, you're getting face-to-face, belly to belly. So everyone seems to just be super consistent around their lead generation. Now, one of the things that we hear a ton of is the fear behind it, right? Picking up the phone, knocking on the door, sending that direct message, that fire emoji, any of those things. How are you guys getting over that fear that's crippling a ton of people that are probably on this call and just getting into action every single day? Henry, I'm going to start with you because you mentioned 9 to 12, no exceptions.
Yeah, you just got to do it. For me, myself, cold calling at first, I was like, man, like this isn't what I do. This is crazy, right? But if you get down to it, it's just like, what's really the worst that can happen? They may scream at you, but what are they really going to do? Move on to the next one. That just has to be the mentality. And just like Sam said, real estate's a contact sport. The more no's I get, I'm eventually going to get to that yes.
Love it. I love it. What about you, David?
To be quite frank, like I don't think I'm over it at all. I'm constantly living in fear. No, not really. But it's the thing is, not everybody is going to like you. And I think just like in life, that's okay. And your big supporters will want to help you. And I think it's a really good way to find out who is your true network. I actually got, Sean screenshot it, I think, and has a laugh about it. I got a super rude Facebook message back, and which was pretty much like the worst that it could be. It was, I'm just going to swear a little. It was, people are so fucking sick of your messages and it just reeks of being disingenuous. Like, fuck off, never talk to me again. And I saw that and I was just like, well, it's not going to get worse than that. So, and that's okay, right? I think that's the big thing, is just knowing that like nothing's, like Henry was saying, nothing's really going to hurt you, right?
Yeah, it's just words, and you can end the call or close the message or unfriend them if they're that upset about it, right? Sam, what about you? How are you getting over that fear of that consistent lead gen every single day, 6 days a week?
You know what? I had a small warm up, in essence, of lead generation before I began my career in real estate. I used to work at LA Fitness at Kennedy Commons Plaza in Scarborough. So that was my first sales gig, actually. I didn't know what lead generation was, appointments, And my general manager at the time would say, you need appointments, you need leads for people to come in and sign up at the membership, for a gym membership. So he would make me just get 7-day passes, weekday passes, weekly passes for LA Fitness. And he would make me go out and literally get people's contact information and potentially book appointments. So I was doing that maybe several months before I came in. So I wasn't overly fearful in essence, but there are the odd time when I'm door knocking in Vaughan, let's say $2.5, $3.5 million homes. I don't really know what the reaction is going to be. So the first 2 doors are usually, a little bit nerve wracking, but I'm a believer of God. So I repeat these words in my head over and over. I just say, God's with me, fear not, and let's go, baby. And I just rip right through. That's it.
Love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Ace, what about you? How are you so consistent at your sphere game and not, because we hear it a lot, I'm going to annoy them. They don't want to talk to me, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
How do you get over that with your incredible sphere?
So getting over my fear with lead generation, chatting, just talking to people in general. So a little backstory, like I started in real estate at a pretty young age. I was 21, turning 22 when I started selling. And I had this drunk monkey, for all you bold lovers out there, telling me that like I wasn't experienced enough, I wasn't going to be taken seriously. And I had such a fear around just putting myself out there, being on video, etc. So for me, it was about finding some really great mentors and always learning, becoming an absolute expert at my market, and then knowing that I am the best person for the job because I am operating at such a high level with my knowledge. You know, we always say knowledge is power, and I think it truly is. So if you're an expert in your market, like, you just know more. Like, why be fearful? You have so much to offer.
I love that. I love that. And feel the fear and do it anyway, right? I mean, I don't think there's any one person that doesn't have a fearful moment at some point, whether it's a $2.5–3 million listing, whether it's a friend you haven't talked to high school, whether it's a, you know, a cold call or a farm, whatever that is. We all have the same fear. Nobody is exempt from it. Feel the fear, do it anyway. That's kind of one of the ones I lived by when I was doing it at such a high level. Henry, what do you got for me?
I was gonna say, I don't think the fear ever really goes away. I think you just end up getting used to it, right? It's like if you fall the first time, you know, it hurts. But if you keep falling, it's gonna hurt, but you're used to it, right?
That's it exactly. And you know, it's funny because my coach used to always say, everything you want is on the other side of whatever it is you fear. And that's actually was the thing that used to get me going. The thing that I want, the listing, the door, whatever it is on the other side of this fear. Let's just go get it. I got a surprise question in here. I told you guys I'd throw you a few of these as they came up, but I want to talk about your environment because each person has mentioned another person or an environment that has helped them to kind of push forward. David, I'm going to start with you. I know Sean really, really well, and Sean Provencher actually helped me a long time ago to kind of get down this path when he was a part of Path Real Estate Group, which he was running his expansion team with his brother. So I want to talk about that environment. How does your environment and how you surround yourself help with your lead generation efforts?
Oh my gosh, it's a little magical, to be honest. So like I mentioned, I was in the first class of Flip Space, which was Sean's agent training program. And being there with more experienced agents, it was a custom built program for me because I'm a bit of a sponge and I ask a lot of questions. I'm sure I annoyed half of the people in there, but it was a game changer for me because it was like having private lessons with Sean every single day for a year, and that's going to do wonders. You just take what he says to do and implement it. It's easy. So one of the biggest things I think is surrounding yourself with people who are willing to just give you the answers. And I'm sure I could have gotten here in terms of my knowledge and skill set, but it probably would have taken 3 or 4 years to figure it out by myself. Yeah. So I think who you surround yourself with and their generosity is probably the first one, like their generosity of spirit, and their willingness to engage with you.
I love that. Aiz, I'm going to go right to you. The West team is incredible. You guys are a top 5 team every year. Great systems, great accountability. How's that helping you turn into this monster of a realtor that you're taking over Ottawa?
Honestly, I like Josh and Rochelle West are just such incredible leaders. They've built such an amazing team. We're 13 of us now, and first and foremost, we start every Monday morning with our Monday morning meeting. We're reviewing the market stats together. We're talking about our wins. What are we grateful for? And it just sets our week up for such success because we're all fired up and we're all like feeding off of each other's energy. And even if you come into that Monday morning, you're feeling like a little blah as that happens, I'm just surrounded by an environment of people where there's odds are the 12 others are going to be operating up here, and we're lifting each other up. So I'm truly lucky and grateful to be part of such an energetic, amazing group of people. And then I'll just always go back to this. We're always about learning and always about training and always revisiting all the KW models and the KW trainings and over ingraining it. I feel like the West team, like we try and recreate that almost every week. We do our own in-house trainings at least once a week. And that keeps me going, keeps me ready to rock and roll.
I love it. So you can't actually get to a point of being down or bummy about it because nobody's gonna let you. I love that. Henry, what are you guys doing with the Knighton team? I know Chris is a monster of a leader. Saw him pop in earlier today, but how does that environment help you kind of keep going every day?
Yeah, it's like a family here, man. You know, we're literally all family. You know, everybody's so welcoming here. The energy is amazing. We all lead generate together. Just much like Aislyn's team, we do the exact same things. We're always recreating trainings. We're always going back to things, revisiting things, just to see how we can get better, right? And just see how we can just be that ultimate professional and what we can do to really just set ourselves apart from everyone else. Like just for example, like our admin staff made something like this, right? Have you guys ever seen something like this that, has correlations between interest rates and sales prices, where the market was, where it's going now? So it's just these little things over here that just they're just so amazing, right? And anytime we show it to our clients too, they're just blown away, right? So but the environment itself, I mean, Chris, he's like a brother to me. I love him. I would take the shirt off my back for him. He's great. The environment that he's created over here, and the way that he's been able to develop us agents has been it's been amazing. It's been great. I love it.
I love it. Absolutely. Now, Sam, you're our expansionist in the room. So you're running your own organization. You're attached to another. For those of you that don't know how expansion works, Sam's a part of a bigger network with MRN. And so he's had Sandy and some of the other guys there. Are you a bit on an island, or how does your environment help with your lead generation efforts?
You know what? Fortunately, very fortunate to start with MRN, because there's a lot of workhorses on that team, and especially my brother Mike Johnson. So him and I were first ones to get to the office, last ones to leave, and very competitive in nature, right? Although we're brothers, we're very competitive in nature. So that work ethic, that mindset, it was embedded in me from the beginning. And it's hard for me to slow down now, because what once was a habit is now a lifestyle to me. And I can't work less than 11 hours a day. It's just weird to me. So that literally transferred over to Vaughn, and I'm just keep going 100 miles an hour nonstop.
So that original sort of team environment, competitive environment, now you just keep going.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to the gym, right? You're just exercising that muscle every single day. When you don't do it, I'm sure you feel exceptionally awkward a day that goes by that you don't lead generate.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. Now I'm going to move around a little bit, so anybody can jump on this one, but share something with us that, you wish you knew 5 years ago, or when you first started your career, that is now an impact in your life today.
For me, myself, it's definitely having a database. When I first got into the business, I was a single agent, and a lot of my business was just done through this phone over here, right? Text message, call here and there, but you don't really have a system, right? When do I follow up with this person? And by the time I followed up with that person, it was, oh, Henry, we already bought, right? So just having a CRM, just having a database, and just knowing, following the systems that we have in place over here, I think has really propelled me and really helped me keep organized.
What are you guys using for your CRM?
We use Sync, Commission Sync. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Great CRM as well. All right, Ace, I saw your hand go up. Talk to me. What do you got?
If I could tell myself something 5 years ago, I'd say get over it. Get over the fear of rejection. Get over what everyone else thinks of you, and just start. Just do something. Just pick up the phone, make that call, answer that lead. Just let go of your drunk monkey and let go of your fear.
I love that. Sam?
I would say it's not always going to be easy at start. So don't expect the easy. Expect the hard. Go in there with the mindset it's going to be hard, and you're going to get over it, and you're going to charge the storm. And when I first started, I had zero money, $0 in my bank account, and I went all in. I didn't expect easy, but at the same time, I didn't think it was going to be that difficult. Therefore, that was my pain point. I have $0 in the bank account, so I got to push through. If I don't push through, then I'm giving up on myself. So if I was to talk to myself 5 years ago, I would say, don't expect easy. Go in there thinking that's going to be hard, and push through it. That's all.
I love that. Mr. Rubel, what would you tell your younger self?
So probably my first answer would be the same as Henry, but I'll give a second answer. And that would be to really think about the client experience from their perspective. I do a lot of work in terms of buyers presentations, listing presentations, scripting. I'm huge on scripting. I lead a scripting call for Toronto, and client communication is huge. One of the biggest no-nos, let's say, for me is if a client ever looks at me and says, so what happens next? Like thinking about guiding them without pushing them through this smooth process. And the way that I got into real estate originally was we bought and sold a bunch of places and made great money. And I just thought, okay, well, this is definitely for me. I like this. And now thinking about what I know, and we had a mix of realtors that we used, and some were better than others. None of them were great. And so just thinking about that experience, about like what went wrong for me there, how can I make sure that this is totally smooth? Your own experience can guide you in terms of the process of what you want.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, and similarities through all of you folks, which I love to hear as well. It's like we actually know what we're talking about. So I'm sure everybody's listening right now and probably wondering, okay, what's the secret sauce? So is there a secret sauce? Do you have one? Is there something that you would share with people that's like, here's something that I do that will get you results? Again, Sam, I'm going to pick on you first just because of where you are, brother. What's the secret, man?
There's a few. I would say consistency, discipline, and scripting. Scripting is key. You got to know what to say, and you got to really determine the motivation if they have any, and you got to work that motivation with you, and at least try to, well, the goal to lead generation, always book the appointment, and that's what you want to go for. So I would say consistency, have a consistent schedule, be super disciplined, because there's going to be days that you're not going to want to lead generate. You're going to have on days and off days. And throughout those off days is when you really got to force yourself to do it. And you got to love what you do, right? And as well as scripting, because that's where our skills truly shows through scripting.
I love that. A's with the West team, do you guys still script? Is that still a consistent thing in your world?
We are scripting. We're always training. We're always learning. I think like theoretically the sales process and model is easy, but sales is actually hard. So I don't think there's a secret sauce, but if there were two things I would say to really focus on is, again, like becoming that expert in your market, have all the answers, and become a problem solver. At the end of the day, that's kind of our job. Like, we are salespeople, we're real estate agents, but our job is to solve people's problems. And if you can become a great connector, dive deep into relationships with people, use the Ford model, like get into conversation with people. This is a relationship business. So become good at building relationships.
I love that. I love that as well. And that keeps showing up in your world. And I'm going to deep dive on that in a little bit when we get into some of the relationship building. Mr. Rubel, what's your secret, man?
It's funny. So again, Aislyn, I think it's like the third question where that's how I would have answered that. So I've never met her before, but we have a very similar mindset, which is awesome. I would say I'll go a little bit of a different direction and say anticipating problems. So really thinking about that. What's going to come up with this? Am I doing everything to anticipate counteracting things that could go wrong? And probably the most obvious example is the mortgage, right? So I work really closely with a few mortgage brokers. I do always try and encourage people to use one of the mortgage brokers that I know is great, because at the end of the day, it's sort of like football is a really good analogy. I'm not really a football player, but it works perfectly. We're the quarterbacks, we throw that pass, and the mortgage broker can't fumble the catch, right? So just those things, what can go wrong, anticipating. And I had one recently where I turned out to be like a huge hero. This is like a longer story, but if anybody wants it, it's full of drama. It's like way better than selling Sunset or anything. I got a call from a realtor who asked me if I remember this certain property. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And turns out it was a property that we bid on and we lost. And it was a week before closing. And the agent of the person who won was calling me because his client couldn't close and they're afraid of getting sued. So would we want to take it over? And not to throw him under the bus, but like that, how can that happen? Like if you're dealing with your mortgage broker and everything's on board. So the end result is they lost 80 grand and we got that property. They forfeited their deposit. We got it for way below market. And I mean, I really feel for his clients and him in that regard, but wow, just get ahead of stuff. That's the big one.
I like that. I like that a lot. Henry froze. For anyone wondering where he went, he didn't leave us. He's trying to get back in. He just froze for a second. Let's talk about lead conversion for a bit, because we know that that's the other side of this whole thing. And you hear lead gen, lead gen, lead gen, and nobody really talks about the conversion piece of it. So, as you're big into your sphere and into your network, how are you moving them from a potential client, I got a lead, and moving them over into a client that's going to actually work with you? Do you got any tips and tricks for everyone?
Okay, so I'll hit on two points, because I think that there's like really like two different types of leads. So first and foremost, like with my conversion, I need to get face to face with somebody. Like that is my superpower, is when I am face to face with somebody, my conversion is up here, right? So first and foremost, I want to just set the appointment. So whether that is an internet lead or my sphere, I'm looking to, get them to reply, add value. Like, so goal number one, like if it's an internet lead, get them to reply. Goal number two, get them to reply again, add some value, give some more value, but don't give all the answers, because we want to tease them in. Be short and sweet. No one likes a novel. And like goal three is set the appointment, get in front of them so that you can dive deep with them and show them that you're the best person for the job with all your knowledge, and show them that you're there to like solve all your problems. Anytime I'm getting on an appointment with somebody, like I'm a passionate people person. So I just try and dive in as much as I can and get them to relate with me and ask deep questions, because believe it or not, people love to talk about themselves. So a part of my conversion is that I am always trying to be authentically myself and just super easygoing, because people open up to me because of it, and they tell me their motivations and what they need and why. And so I find just being an open book and being persistent really helps in my conversion. One other thing I'll say is like, I like to follow the mindset of like, let's date before we get married. I don't love to drive home the pressure, because I want these leads to want to work with me and not feel like I'm just like throwing them into a contract right away. So this is the way that I approach things, because I don't like to put pressure into relationships. I want them to want to work with me, and vice versa. And then lastly, always following up with value, and always setting expectations for when I'm going to be in touch next. I think that like this is how I convert at a high level.
I love that. I love that. And one of the things I heard there, and you said it over and over and over again, that word value. So give me an example. I'm a client. You're trying to get that appointment. What's something you might send me in order to engage in that one-to-one contact back and forth?
Like as like a cold internet lead, or
yeah, I'm a cold lead. We don't know each other, and you're trying to get me to respond. What's an item of value you might send over?
Awesome. So I would likely send, like, they probably inquire on a property first and foremost. I'd be like, that's great. I can absolutely show you this property. While we're out, I have these two other properties and this one off market that my team has that I can show you as well at the same time. I'm available Tuesday from 2:30 to 5:30 or Wednesday from 6 to 7. Do either of these times work well for you? Like, reply to confirm. Great. Like, first thing of value, some online properties and something that they didn't know existed.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And what I heard there is you're providing value, you're giving me options, and then you're closing for the appointment. You gave them 2 times. It's like you're training KW or by some of the best trainers out there, and you're just following the model to a T. So I love that, Ace. Way to go. That's incredible. Sam, David, jump in on this with me here. Let's talk about that conversion. How are you getting from cold or door knock into the appointment? What are you gentlemen doing?
Go for it, Sam.
All right. So personally for me, I'm always looking for the motivated in order for them to be converted. So are they motivated? And if so, how motivated are they? Even if they give me the slightest motivation, boom, I'm digging deep. So I ask a lot of questions. Like I interrogate them in a way, but I want to know out of curiosity, right? especially if it's a cold lead. I know nothing about them. They know nothing about me. So let's build a profile. Why, what, where, when, how come? So I build it up. And if I find that they're remotely motivated, let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, they're at 3 or 4, then I'm booking that appointment. I'll give them a reason to meet me. And once I book the appointment, pre-qualify them before I go, then I do my job.
I appreciate that. That's gold right there. David, what are you doing different, or what are you doing the same as these folks here?
The same is definitely going with a ton of questions on motivation. One thing that was very difficult for me to learn was not to tell people things and to ask them questions, because if they discover it themselves, they are just way, way further down the line than if you're just telling them. And that works in a lot of ways. I'll go a little off track. I learned pretty quickly that if you have a client who is dead set on lowball offers, it's a lot quicker to write a couple crappy offers for them than spend your time arguing with them and trying to convince them. Like life is the best teacher. So I think that that flows pretty well. Personally, I really do like to get together with somebody. I love to get coffee with them. I'm personable. And I feel like the position I want to put myself in is that I am the knowledgeable friend, somebody that they feel is in their corner. They can hang out with, they can have a good time. They're going to get great real estate tips. And somebody who's just basically going to ask enough questions, be in their corner to help them get what they really want. And discovering what they want is part of that journey.
I love that. Henry, welcome back. We lost you for a minute there. We were worried about you. Unmute yourself, jump into the conversation with her. We're talking about lead conversion. So we've taken them, we've gotten the info, and now we're trying to close to the appointment. What sort of strategies, sort of tips are you guys using to convert leads?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. I thought I was lost there for a second. Okay, perfect. For us, we're more so about building a relationship. We're very relationship based. So for us, again, it's all about it's a lot of what Aislyn and Sam and David were saying, right? Whatever source it is, whether it's a friend who I'm adding to the database, touching base with them, someone who I meet off of door knocking, again, getting their information. And for me, myself, it's more so, obviously we're always asking the right questions, but for me, it's more about, can I see myself working with this person? Because that's huge for me, right? Throughout my 4.5 years in real estate, and I've been very, very lucky for this, I haven't had too many of those bad client stories, right? But that's because I built the relationship with our clients ahead of time, right? So before we are even looking at homes, I know what kind of person you are, right? I know that I know that you're someone who just wants the information, or you want me to lead the way, right? So I think that's huge too for me. It's just building a relationship and just getting to know our people before we're actually working with them.
I love that. And you said something there around that personality type. It's almost like you study the disc and you know what people are, and you're able to then talk to them the way they want to be spoken to. I think a lot of times we get caught up in this, the golden rule, right? Treat people how you want to be treated. And then we talk about the platinum rule, which is treat people how they want to be treated. And it sounds like each one of you have embodied that, where you're getting to know your clients on a deep personal level, getting in the appointment, adding value, and then treating them how they want to be treated. Anybody disagree with that or have anything they want to add to that statement? Silence. I love it.
Well, I'll say it sounds like Henry doesn't work with the crazy, so send them over here to Ottawa. I'll take them.
I was gonna say, Henry, you just haven't had the client yet that shows up and gives you that experience. So it's coming.
I've had a few, but there are a few in between, right? Because I know them ahead of time. It's kind of like this. Do I want to work with you? I don't know, right? And that's, I think, as an agent, empowering yourself with that is huge, right? This job should be very enjoyable, honestly. That's the way I look at it, right? And you should design it the way that you want your business to be. That's how I look at it, right? So I love working with the younger families, first-time home buyers, investors. That's me. That's me all day, right? I can have a field day doing that. And I'll be completely honest. I have a challenging time working with seniors per se, right? We don't connect the way that I connect with the younger families or the people around my age, right? So I try to build my business around that, right?
You're focusing on what you love, not what you hate, and you're making no excuses for it. I love that. All right, we got a couple more questions to go. The big one I know a lot of people are wondering about is social media. A's, I know you kind of lead the charge here. I'm going to start with the gentleman though, and I'm going to get you last, A's. So guys, what are we doing in social media, and how are we lead generating and building our businesses through our various social media platforms? Sam, I'm going to start with you because I know you're a monster on social media as well.
Me?
Yes, sir.
I'm only trying to catch up to you, man. I'm only trying to catch up to you, Andre. Yeah, I haven't been overly purposeful around my social media, but lately I've been kind of picking up the slack a little bit. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. It's not just about real estate. It's about who I am as a person, a little bit personal thing, because, you know, I'm a devoted Christian. Want to mix that in there a little bit as well. And who I truly am, right? Who is Sam Kwon? And people know that through social media. So I'm mixing the personal and the business. And when I'm doing the business in terms of real estate, I'm trying to add value as much as possible, keeping current to the current market statistics, and as well as what's really trending and how I can help people that are thinking about making a move in that sense.
I love that. I love that. David, what about you? How are you leveraging your social media with your lead generation?
Well, it's interesting. I would say that my social media has not been a lead gen pillar so much as it's been much more support. When I meet somebody, I do a lot of open houses. I love that. And I usually try and book the appointment when I'm there. However, they're always looking me up at on social media in between. So it's been much more of a support system, as well as staying top of mind with my sphere.
I like that. And that's true. If you don't think your clients are Googling you or looking you up on social media, you're kidding yourself. So you do have to have something there. Henry, what are you doing to leverage social media in your world?
Yeah, the way that I look at social media, and I've kind of taken a mindset shift to this, but how I originally look at things is social media is my resume, right? So I love showing like, hey, you know, I've done this, I've done that. But now it's getting to a point where I kind of feel like I don't want to be too, I don't want to force that down people's throats too much. Like they know now I'm the realtor, right? At first, when I came into the business, it was like, okay, just sold, just listed, all that, which is still great, right? But I think what's been working for me recently, I would say is, it's like that saying, it goes down in the DM. So always DMing people. Stories has been huge for me too, providing value in stories, right? And people are reaching out to me at that point. So right. So that's been huge for me in regards to, you know, attracting clients there. But I'm trying to do a bit more of what Aislyn's doing, right? You know, post more videos or commenting more on people's stories and, you know, commenting overall, right? And I think that gives you traction as well.
I like that. Thank you for sharing. A's, let's talk about your social media, because you're talking your sphere, your clients, everybody's getting messages and value from you on social media. Is that your primary way of communication?
So my social media is basically the vehicle I use to show my sphere and my network, just like who I am as a person. So like David said, like I really use my social media to support my lead gen efforts. My efforts of building on my sphere and deepening those connections. Again, I can't say it enough. It's a relationship business. And I always say, like, my goal with my social media is to show the fans who A's is. Like, I want them to know I'm Aislyn. I'm the amazing realtor. I'm the dog mom. I'm the traveler. Like, I want to be authentically myself in everything that I do. And on my social media, I definitely do not take myself too seriously. I like to joke around in front of my listings and in my car and at open houses, etc. And I like to just show what I'm doing on the daily. I really do give so much credit to like what my team does on the business side of them, because on the business and branding side of our marketing, because we have a really robust team social media. So I use that to like repost stories, like to remind people, obviously, like I'm in real estate, I'm selling homes, but it's really not to show on my personal page how many units I did or how much money I'm making. And then when it comes to like the leads, it's more so, it's not generating them, but it's letting me know when there is a qualified lead out there, because that's when like someone in my network is reaching out.
Now-
Basically, my intention is when someone wants to buy or sell, they'll think of me because they see me all over their social.
I like that. Does anybody, and maybe this is creepy, it's just a question, but when you're getting those leads in, cold leads, door knocks, whatever, are you guys going and adding them to social media as well, or are you waiting for them to add you? I know that's a question that's come up a ton, where people are like, oh man, it feels creepy. And then there's other people that are like, listen, the minute that lead hits, I'm on their Facebook, I'm on their Instagram. Which one are you?
So I'll
So
I just want to know. I just want to. I looked them up. I googled them.
You Googled them.
I googled them. I don't add them, to be honest with you. I barely even add my clients. Oddly enough, today though, I'm supposed to go to a listing appointment in the evening, and the seller's daughter, who I'm going to meet as well, added me to LinkedIn, which never happened before. But yeah, to your point, Andre, I think we should be doing that just because it's more of a personal touch. So they get to know us, we get to know them a little bit, and then yeah, build a rapport in that sense.
Okay, I love it.
I definitely add my clients, like they know me, we're working together. I want them to see who they're working with. So clients absolutely are added. Have I started adding cold internet leads? Not yet. Do I sometimes look them up to see if they pass the vibe check before I meet with them? Maybe.
I love that. I love that. They passed the vibe check. That's a great, we're gonna put that down on the script list. Henry, what are you doing? David, what are you guys doing? Are you adding people, or are you just kind of looking them up from a distance, and then when they become clients, maybe add them?
Yeah, it depends on where we are in the relationship, I would say. You know, I'm not cold adding them. Maybe that's something that I should start doing. I don't really look them up either, but it gets to a point where, you know, we build this relationship, even if we're not, you know, in a working relationship yet, where it's like, hey man, you're a cool person, or you're someone I'll get a beer with, or, you know, I'd love to get food with you, right? Why not? We all have social media, right?
There you go. What about you, David?
Pretty close to Henry. So I definitely looked them up because knowledge is power. And, you know, it's fun to just internet stalk people, as we all know. Don't tell me you don't do it. And usually after some sort of contact, I'll do that. Maybe I should be doing it sooner. If you're not doing it at all, I think that's probably a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think for me, it's once the face-to-face happens. It just feels awkward if the face-to-face hasn't happened, and then I'm getting the friend request. I'm probably just gonna leave it, let it sit there for a little bit before responding. What I want to share, and we got about 9 minutes. I promised to be done at 4 today. We have about 9 minutes. I wanted to just share a couple of quick things. The first thing I saw was every single person here is consistent about their lead generation. We didn't start off this way, but we just did a quick tally, and the 4 of you combined are doing about 200 million in volume annually based on your 2022 numbers, which puts you, if the 4 of you guys were one team as an example, you'd be in the top 30 in Canada just there. So a ton of great knowledge, but I love that every single person is putting the time in, putting the work in, and they're consistent around their lead generation. Is there anything that you want to share before we jump? And then for everybody that's listening, feel free, now would be the time. If you have a question that's burning, drop it in the chat, or unmute yourself quickly. Let's get a couple additional questions for this incredible group. And before we do that, I just want to make sure that I say thank you to you guys. I've met each one of you in person or at a training event, and every single one of you inspires me to keep going and to keep pushing and to keep driving. And I love to see the come up. Sam, I remember meeting you years ago when you first got started. Henry, same with you. Ace, we just met recently, but it's so incredible to me that here are these group of people all over Ontario, and each one of you guys is killing it in your category. There's hope for everybody, and thank you so much. So thank you all. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you have any questions for these folks.
Thanks so much for the invite, Andre. This is super fun.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. You know what was funny is I could tell that you're a machine when it comes to follow up because the messages were coming in like, "Where's my questions, bro?" And then you'd hit me 2 days later. Like I felt like I was in your database just on a follow up plan. And boom, here's the message again. So
Yeah.
no, this was fun. You guys are incredible, and thank you for sharing and thank you for being here. All right, guys, what do we want to know? There's got to be somebody out there that wants to know something from this group.
I want to know how you guys deal with distractions. It's one of the biggest issues when we're lead genning is getting distracted. What are your key pieces of not getting distracted and just focusing?
Ooh, I have a good one for that. So for anybody who knows me, you know that I have huge ADHD. So boy, do I love distractions. Any distraction I can get my hands on that. And what's been super effective for me has been two things. The first is, everybody know the Chrome extension Boomerang?
I do.
I'm not, okay, Andre does. I'm not usually one to utilize that much technology. This has been a game changer for me. So for anybody who doesn't know what it does, it basically just pauses your inbox for the amount of time that you want it to. So you can do it for lead gen. Personally, I started doing it so I only have 2 email blocks a day, like one at 8:30 and one at 5. And that keeps me, so, you know, in those 10 minutes, I can get back to all the emails as opposed to just every single, you know, like I would guess that everyone in this room gets an email every 10 minutes. And when you're going back and forth, it's just really splitting your focus. The second one that I did, and I'm not a grandpa for technology, but like I'm not that good. And my EA told me this one that really should have, it really should have been obvious to me. I use Follow Up Boss for my CRM and my calls. And she was like, why aren't you just putting your phone on airplane mode and using your computer to dial? Like Follow Up Boss can do that. And I was like, so between those two, it has eliminated like 90% of distractions. Nothing's perfect, but boy, that's just an easy way to make it quite a lot more solid in terms of a block of lead gen.
So you're boomeranging email, so you're pausing your inbox, nothing's coming through, phone's going on airplane mode. You're kind of building that bunker, forcing yourself to not.
That's a great word for it too, like a bunker, because I mean, I think the important thing is you have to know yourself. And then you have to do things that are going to counteract what you're naturally going to do to distract yourself.
That's true. That's so true. Anybody else want to jump on that one?
We're using Follow Up Boss as well. So we also have the capability to use our computers to do all our texting and all our calling. So thankfully I have Josh West who comes in and steals this from me. So I have 0 distractions, but no, in all honesty, like getting over distractions is extremely difficult. It takes self-discipline.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Kristen, how'd that do for your answer?
That was awesome. I'm gonna get Boomerang right now.
It's free.
It's free. There you go. All right, what else do we want to know? We got 3 more minutes until we give you back your afternoon.
I got a question about this kind of does sort of fall under distractions as well, but more on the line of so I set a lot of tasks for myself in Follow Up Boss, and I have a hard time where I tend to promise to do things for people who aren't necessarily motivated, or we haven't really created a relationship yet. So I was curious if you guys, in the vein of, are you doing things for people to bring them value before you've met them, or are you trying to just get that appointment first and really trying to see if they're going to meet with you first?
I'm trying to do both at the same time. So like always working to try and set that appointment, but they're going to say more likely to say yes to meeting with me in person if they're seeing that I'm already coming from contribution and already providing things of value. So, you know, like I think that the money is in the follow-up, I think that they say. So consistently providing value is 100% the way to go. And with that, just being like, hey, I'm ready when you are, and here's my calendar, here's when I'm available. Let's go see these couple houses. It's no sweat off my back. You're not wasting my time. This is my job. I'm going to be doing this for the next 10, hopefully not 20 years, but.
I love it. Anybody else have anything they want to jump on with that?
Yeah,
One
Angus,
thing I've been doing. Go ahead, Henry.
I was just gonna say, Angus. So it's I think it's tough to get someone to meet with you if you're not providing value, right? Like Aislyn said. Now it depends on what it is, though, right? I mean, you have to kind of draw a line. If they're asking you to show them 10 homes before you got anything signed on the same day, I think that's a bit different, right? But I think something like setting them up on a sold search so that they understand the neighborhood that they want to buy in. Showing them the off-market properties that you and your team have. I think that's a great item of value that you give them before you have that working relationship with them.
Yeah,
for sure. One thing I've been doing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, please go ahead, Sam.
All right, thank you. One thing I've been doing lately for the last few months, actually, whether they're 2 years away, 1 year away, 3 years away, or whatever, at the end of every conversation, I would say, what is one thing that I can do right now to provide value until you are ready to meet? I always end it with that. And even if they have nothing, I want them to feel that I care. I want to put in the effort, and whatever it is that I can truly do to really help them with whatever that they need. Usually it's a no, I don't really need anything, or it'll be like, hey, can you send me recently sold in the area? Nothing crazy. Where it's really, I'm going out of my way to do whatever it is that I'm doing until they're ready.
I really agree with that. And I look at those activities as lead gen. Like it's almost a tryout in a way, right? Like I don't do a lot of leases anymore, though I do leases for people who are high achievers. Like if somebody's just coming out of med school and they need a lease, absolutely, because that's basically like paid lead gen. You're trying out to be their realtor for the rest of their life. So whenever you can do a task for somebody and it doesn't seem too onerous, like if somebody's asking to see 10 showings that day and they're like, hey, I can meet right now, maybe that's somebody who needs a little education, or maybe that's somebody who is a little bit too entitled, and you can figure that out. But a lot of deals that I have had in a short career, albeit, have come from just acts of kindness that I've done for somebody, and it's turned into a referral. So I will do those all day.
I love it.
okay.
Awesome, guys. Well, it's 4 o'clock. I promised we'd be done. We're just a little bit over time, so let's just grab a quick picture here. I'm just going to try to get everybody in. So, all right. So we got that, and thank you all for being here. I'll send this out to you guys, and I appreciate you all. And thanks for everyone for joining us as well. What a great panel and so many tips and tricks. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Andre.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.